Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me on my channel. Here we talk about fragrances, and today we're going to be talking about a specific fragrance house, and that is Amouage. Amouage. Who is Amouage? Just who is Amouage? Amouage is a perfume house that was established back in 1983. It's a subsidiary of a company called the Sabco Group, which is owned by the Omani royal family. Now, they wanted to keep the Arabian traditions of perfumery alive, so they established a house, and for a time, perfumes from Amouage were given as gifts to royalty and important people. They weren't even sold outside of Oman. Now, according to Fragrantica, which is the reference of choice of the day, as of the recording of this video, there have been 127 Amouage fragrances. Now, I've been lucky enough to have gotten my nose to just over half of those. And I also own quite a few bottles myself. Now, this year, 2023, marks their 40th anniversary, and I'm excited for the arrival of something special from the house. Now, I knew the men's bottles from this house is shaped like the Omani dagger, which is called a khanjar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If any Omani people that are watching can elaborate and tell me if I did that right. A khanjar. So those bottles are shaped like a khanjar, especially the cap, and I'll show you an image of that. But I recently found out that the women's bottles are shaped like the Palace Rui Mosque in Muscat. And I also saw the women's cap design in the installment behind the main chair in the government house. Now, just a side note about the Omani royal family, because I think it needs to be mentioned. They have massive amounts of money. Like very, very, very wealthy. Like your mind can't really fathom. You or I may have a fragrance collection, or some of us have a Swiss watch collection. Some of us even have a vintage sports car collection. These guys have yacht collections, airplane collections, palace collections, just next to next level wealth here. So why am I making this point? Why am I making this point? It's because this puts Amouage at a considerable advantage when it comes to multiple things: quality of marketing, quality of manufacture, and quality of perfume. This isn't your indie perfume house. This isn't your small-time niche startup. This isn't even your conglomerate-backed designer house pumping out mindless drivel masquerading as luxury, when it's obvious that the most important thing is the bottom line. No, Amouage's goal is luxury. It's their ethos. It's the persona at the foundations of the brand. Let's unpack this a little. But before I do, I realize some of the things I'm about to say are going to make me sound like a total snob to some people. And in true snob fashion, I just don't care. Amouage is as close to luxury being personified as I've come across in the fragrance game. Now, I personally have a collection of many fragrances, frankly too many fragrances from so-called uber luxury houses, and whilst the fragrance sometimes may be beautiful, the bottle leaks, or the cap doesn't fit, or the plaque is a little lopsided, or it falls off, or the atomizers are different from one bottle to the other, or worst of all, the fragrance itself is constructed of the cheapest materials available whilst purporting to be the heights of luxury and command eye-watering price points. I have never had any such quality control issues from Amouage. Next is the marketing. The marketing of many niche fragrance brands does not hold up to scrutiny. Dubious collaborations, no heritage, a factory line of fragrances for any and every occasion. Oh, it's sunny tomorrow, is it? Let's have a new fragrance called Sunny. What's next? Eau de Taco Tuesday?
Taco Mardi. Un nouveau parfum de Taco Rabanne.
By the way, if anyone does this, I want my cut. The marketing I've seen from Amouage never strays too far from the brand's ethos of luxury. Let me delve a little deeper into that one. So, number one, dubious collaborations. Now, I've seen multiple so-called luxury niche houses collab with the most non-luxury people. Now, I'm not having a go at the people because that's their character, and for some that's their public persona. And the reason that they portray themselves in that manner, it's because that's how they got famous, and that's what works for them. But it's not luxury. It's almost anti-luxury, and it's a dichotomy that doesn't sit well with those of us who are discerning and mindful, those of us who do not identify as part of the doom-scrolling double-tap brigade, those of us whose narrative of ourselves will not allow for such zirconia-studded fakery. No heritage. Now, I'm a huge fan of startups and entrepreneurs. I've worked for startups and I've started a couple myself, and I know how much risk-taking and hard work is involved in maintaining and starting and running these things. And the one thing that I cannot get my head around is this concept of the luxury startup. That when you hear the word startup, the image of two guys in their parents' garage comes to mind. Not luxury. Even if you think back to the beginnings of some of the most well-known luxury houses, you'll commonly find one of two things. One, a massive backing of authority and finance, like in the case of Cristobal Balenciaga, who worked as a couturier for the Spanish royalty, or Christian Dior, whose Maison Dior was owned and financed by the textiles magnate Marcel Boussac. And in the fragrance game, it's Amouage, financed by the Omani royal family. Two is clout. Clout is the most valuable currency within a luxury context. Take, for example, Giorgio Armani, who studied under the already legendary Nino Cerruti. How about Yves Saint Laurent, who was Christian Dior's assistant? And in the fragrance game, of course, we have Roger Dove, who, for many decades, was the man from Guerlain. We will not mention Tom Ford. That man is a god. And that's that.
That's that. That's that.
That's that. But the point is, a luxury startup without a massive backing of authority or finance and or clout is a sham. It's a series of shell companies registered in the Caymans. It exists to appease the ego of its creator, or even worse, to use smoke and mirrors to wedge itself into the lexicon of luxury. And the present time is perfect to do this, given we're too time poor to be discerning enough. And it's damaging. It damages your idea of what luxury is. It dilutes the meaning and experience. Your idea of luxury is tainted by these charlatans, and you're likely to paint everyone with the same brush, including purveyors of actual luxury. And that's sad. A factory production line. Luxury is not fast fashion, and fast fashion is not luxury. They cannot exist in the same mindset. Something that is luxurious is not to be experienced flippantly or frivolously. You must be reluctant to ever discard it. It's taken a long time to craft, so you can have a long time to enjoy it. To me, this is stating the obvious, but I feel like this is something that still needs to be said. Amouage passes most of my tests of luxury with flying colors. They've stuck to their strong suits, and they do the thing that they're known for better than any other. And the thing I'm talking about is Omani frankincense, white Hojari frankincense from the Dhofar region in Oman. The climate in Oman and the materials grown there have their own character, much like how Chanel has exclusivity rights with certain jasmine, rose and lavender farms in Grasse, much like how Dior and Guerlain do with Rose de Mai from the same region. No one else can replicate it.